There we go. This damn laptop getting too much cat hair in the fan because I can hear that fan. When your laptop fan starts to be noticeable, I'm thinking that's not necessarily a good sign. Unfortunately, it may be midsummer before I manage to squeeze enough money together somehow to replace this thing. And I'm afraid nothing big happens between now and then. I have an older one behind it, but it's questionable at best. Anyway, welcome to 2024. And this is my channel, History Revisited. You know, originally when I set up the channel, it was just kind of an opportunity for me to go and run my mouth off about strange and mysterious and you know, things that should go, what? Is that right? Because I have this fascination with like Bob Lazar and aliens and ancient history, ancient mythology, and all the weird science in between. Not that I believe, I'm not a huge believer in conspiracies. Although I will tell you that there is a conspiracy to make people believers in conspiracies. I do believe that's out there. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. I do, Sue. I do. So we are looking at, this is New Year's Day, 2024. So the very first day of the brand new year. This officially is the beginning of the 6th year in my wife and I's home. This is our first and only home we've ever purchased. And we're quite proud of it. And we fought very hard this last year financially to keep above water. We were successful. Barely, but we were successful, mostly because I killed myself with overtime. Just saying, we had a couple little, things here and there. I go back and I talk. A lot of people talk about all those stimulus packages were this and they were that and they were bad. I'm going to tell you the honest truth for myself personally. I owed back child support, so I didn't expect to get one at all. And my wife got one, which we immediately used to pay for her prescriptions for the next 6 months, and a couple other things that took place. Oh, and I went and paid $600 that cost five something. It was my half of the upper denture that I was getting taken care of at the county hospital for free, and I had to pay for 50% of the appliance itself. The rest of it was a part of a program that they had, and we do our best like everybody else. And my wife's not a political person whatsoever. She really has no interest whatsoever in politics. Myself, I find myself in a weird spot, right? A weird spot. I don't ever consider myself a full-blown Democrat because I don't agree with a lot of the crap they do and a lot of the crap they purport to do, let alone how they behave. And they behave pretty lame, right? Granted, they're not colorful and overly dramatic like some of the current mega group, but the fact is when they have opportunities to do things for the better good of humanity, and they claim that's what they want to do all the time, they seem to fail to actually achieve it. Is that hypocrisy? Is that a conspiracy? I don't know. The Republican Party, I have supported off and on over the decades when they've had people that made sense. But ever increasingly, more frequently, all I see is greed and hypocrisy. Lying. Lies nonstop. You get tired of that after a while, and I know from being a student of history just how dangerous that is. A lot of people don't see it. And yet, right, my conservative, neo-Christian, Pentecostal upbringing in rural Iowa, no less, makes me attuned to a lot of what the far-right base are doing and why they do and think the way they do. I understand painfully well why MAGA is a cult. And if you get insulted that people say you're a member of a cult, good. Really, you need to be insulted. You need to be so insulted that you stand up and take a hard look at the cult you've joined. By every measure, every definition of the concept, y'all in a cult. And it's not going to end well for you. It will not end well for MAGA. The sad part is how many other people are going to suffer too because of some oblivious stuff. That's sad. That said, let's go back over to this other side. There's a part of me who would dearly love to see Trump get reelected. I would love to see Trump get reelected on the grounds that it would be you all asked for what you got coming. If the only downside is I'd be in the same boat as the rest of you, and I'm not keen on that. I'm not keen on the 30% of y'all hell-bent on dragging the 70% of us into your hellscape. Specifically because my fine conservative and Republican MAGA friends and family, honestly, I love y'all. And I hate all of you at the same time, right? Mostly I hate you for your willful ignorance, your intentional stupidity. You know what I'm saying? If you're truly a hardcore Christian, then you know damn well the shit that they're pulling goes against everything Jesus taught. Jesus would not vote for Trump. Jesus wouldn't vote, period. Let's get that out there. Jesus would never vote for anybody because he's not going to take sides like that. Jesus took sides for the poor and the destitute and the trodden and the people who had no hope. The Bible stick with it. The whole premise of the New Testament. How can you not see that? And we're taught that. Most of us as kids and growing up in Christian America, going to Sunday school, we're taught that. Basics. So, how did that change? I have my suspicions. What do you think? What do you think caused that to change? How did we go from true Christians to this souped up political cult that's hell-bent on actually destroying everything that we claim we support? See, I have problems with that. And that's what makes 2024 probably one of the most important years in the history of America to date. There's been a couple points in history of America where we were close. And it was, the days and the weeks and the months that led up to the breakout of the actual Civil War. And so when, Carrie Lake gets up there and stumbles over what the main accepted cause of the Civil War was. She tried to hiff and hoff because she's trying to hit her base. She's trying to, well, what do you want me to say? Well, lady, we want to hear what you think, not what you think you want us to hear. And you just put that out on Front Street. So when now most of us who had any thinking of you maybe have some possible, oomph. Now, I understand what kind of politician you are now. No offense, lady, you ain't ever going to be president. It ain't happening. It ain't happening. Something happened to Trump tomorrow and DeSantis would be the next damn Republican nominee. He ain't got no chance in hell being president neither. No. So, Nancy Lake, slavery. But see, I understand what her textbook response after that was. Her trying to catch, trying to get back up off of her butt from falling down on it, is that it was about political control. A lot of what we're complaining about now, that they are complaining about now, is how the states should have basically, ubiquitous control over anything and everything that happens within the state borders, with no regards whatsoever to anybody else. See, there's the problem. You have 50-odd states, and not all 50 states are going to work together as pals. And historically speaking, we got some states that are not friendly with each other since their creation. Oh, it might be low-key these days, but the fact is it's always been. And then, of course, there's Texas, who always believes it should be its own damn nation, and has made three failed attempts at becoming their own nation. Well, hey, Texas, you ain't all that in a bag of chips. I've been there. It's dirty, it's hot, and y'all suck. Just saying. And you had a homeless crisis situation in the 80s and the early 90s to make or late 80s to make everything today look like chicken soup. So I want to hear it because I've seen it firsthand. I saw block after block, hundreds of people sleeping out under your highway down there in Houston. So I imagine probably shitload more of them doing the same shit, right? So yeah, we are in a dangerous year, mostly for the concept of democracy. And I've said it before in other videos, and I'm a strong believer of this, and I say it to anybody, whether they want to hear it or not. And I'm not a very popular person sometimes when it comes to politics in Iowa, because I'm blunt to them about it. Because you guys are supporting these people, and it's not Trump that you really need to worry about. And it's the people he puts in office who will enable him, but more important, they will entrench themselves. So, and that's not something that old Donald's ever thought about, because I'm pretty sure, his megalomania, he just can't conceive of the idea that possibly, just possibly, some of his friends and allies may not be thinking well of him for forever. Just ask some fine Roman senators and Caesars of the era. Keep your friends close. Keep your enemies close, your friends closer. There's some truth to that too. So I suspect if Trump ever did get elected president, he would not stay president for too long. I think an accident would occur. I hate to say it, but I do, and I think it'll be an accident that'll occur inside from their inside. It'll be an inside the party job. They'll blame it on the Democrats, and then they'll use that as an excuse to ramp up even more of their stricter controls. So then, basically, Trump gets elected to office, the odds are really, really slender that we will ever see another free and open election in this country, except after a very very touch and go situation, assuming we ever live through this kind of scenario. That's that bad. I don't think in any stretch of the means to say that. You can't let these people get into power. And then, I've said it before too, the real dangerous person is just 2 seats away. Trump is a self-centered, egotistical maniac moron. Moron being the key word there. He's actually far more easy to manipulate than he thinks he is. Because you see it. His people manipulate him. All you gotta do is feed him an idea, and then he thinks it's his idea. And he'll run with it even though it wasn't his idea. And running with it would be the stupidest thing to do. It's like running with a whole armful of scissors in flip-flops on ice. Can I make it any clearer how bad of an idea that would be? Just saying, man. The world is already in a messed up place. It ain't getting better. This year, I suspect we're going to see, I think we will see the situation in Israel and the Gaza Strip come to some kind of conclusion. It's not going to be it's not going to be a win for the Israelis, no matter how much they want to spend it out that way. Not going to be, right? Oh yeah, got me some leftover Christmas fudge, right? Was left out the grocery store Friday, Saturday, and they had some out for a discount. It was like half price, $3 a box. So we grabbed a couple boxes. We had some friends over last night, so been worked my butt off in 4 days. I put damn near 50 hours in 4 days, and then we partied pretty hard Saturday night. Kind of partied halfway hard than last night. Not as hard. All right. My hard partying days are long past, I'm just saying. So it's the wife and I and some friends, and a few friends over. We were grateful to have them over, right? And we were able to have a little bit. We had the house to have some people over. It's always a beautiful thing, right? And I worry about a lot of things that we shouldn't have to worry about. And in this day and age, I really, there was a part last year, a year before, when Putin first started the crazy shit in Ukraine. I actually had a moment where I thought, we have never been closer since the 60s to a nuclear exchange right now than this moment. And I was driving around the state doing my job, and I kept looking off to the west, because Omaha's off that way in a big SAC base. So if it ever breaks out, that's major target. The nearest major target to my home is that. And it's better 100 and some miles away, so, I watch the weather patterns and stuff. I have my whole life since we've become aware of this crap called fallout, and it just puzzles people sometimes. Well, the weather's this, that, and the other. Say, oh, it's not going to come here. It's going to move up northwest of us. Well, how do you know? Because I pay attention. So the fallout, for the majority of the fallout that hits Omaha and the Sac base there, would go off into northeastern Iowa, northwestern or South South Dakota. So so I stocked up on a whole shitload of ramen noodles and honey and aspirin and toilet paper and water and other shit. That stockpile is diminished a little bit, but I keep maintaining it because we are in such hairball times, and I have no disillusion. That's just a stopgap. If things fell apart that bad, it's Mad Max for sure, and most of us are screwed. All you can do is try to worry about we had all the shortages and all the supply chain crisis issues, and a lot of that was manufactured crisis too, both prior and before. A system set up to not be able to cope with a massive problem is part of it. And also a system was so designed to be so tweaked that they could keep that profit margin so high that when once again we needed it to work better, it was unable to comply, and it caused problems, right? So we're going to see the election, and we're going to see whether or not Trump can make it back to office. I mean, everybody crying about Biden's age. No offense, let's have that honesty crap again. I know it's not a very favorable part of America today, being honest. Dude, man, Biden's only 2 years older than Trump. How the fuck has two old men? He's too old. Whoa, because he's 2 years younger. He eats Big Macs all damn day. Look at the belly on him. He ain't any healthier than Biden age-wise. He's just a heart attack away from dying. So who the hell's his vice president pick? Ask yourself, because they haven't posted that. They haven't said who he's wanting to pick for a vice president, because I've heard crazy shit. I've heard everything from his daughter to, you name it. Himself. I wouldn't put past Trump to say, I don't need a vice president. I'm Trump. Because Trump has no intention of having a competitor. The whole purpose of a vice president is to spare. We all know that. The whole point of the vice president is so we have somebody immediately waiting in the wings that can step up in the moment of a problem. So what happens if if both those people get taken out? Hello, Speaker of the House. That bothers me a lot more than Trump being, so we got to keep Trump from winning to avoid the scenario where that takes place. But we could still see that scenario because accidents happen and presidents have had accidents in the past. That's a real danger. And I'm pretty sure a lot of smart people are considering that right now, every day, thinking about it. I don't think the Democratic Party is doing enough, however, to trumpet the amount of stuff that Biden has done, because once again, yes, the economy is improving. All the bellwether numbers, all the sites who specialize in this crap, all are singing that it's getting better. There's talk of the interest rates coming down. All signs, even with the high rate of spending and high rate of debt Americans have incurred to maintain that damn spending level, the economy is doing well. When I once again have to ask, well, for whom? How well is it doing for you? I'm in that lower 40%, and it ain't doing squat for me. Prices are still god-awful high compared to what they were a few years ago, and they're not coming down. See, that's the rub. That's always been the rub. When you have a price increase, for whatever reason, the companies bump up the prices because of shortages, because of cost materials, because of increased labor expenses, whatever. Emergencies. And then they say, oh, well, the price will come back down. But it never truly comes down, does it? So if it was $4 and they bump it to $5, and then 3 years later it comes down to $4.50, the price came down. Price came down, right? We lowered the prices. Yeah, right. Except it's more like it was $4, now it's $8, and then it'll come back at $6. And we'll all be grateful we're paying $6 because that's part of their plan. It goes back to that full circle. One of those things I mentioned at the very beginning of the video, if anybody's stuck this far through it, is that when you have a handful of major corporations controlling the prices of things, it's not hard for them to get together and go, you know, I like the price of that bacon. That bacon's pretty good for them. We can make a profit doing that. Now, they don't openly get together and say, look, let's just all agree to charge $5.99 for our bacon. $5.99 a pound for bacon. We all charge it. We all make money. Now, they ain't getting around and doing that because that would be illegal. That would be price controls. The government might get involved. Might get involved. All right. So if you just have this kind of wink and nod, you know, kind of thing. Yeah, Jar, we're not planning on raising our rates of bacon anytime soon. I think, yeah. The only reason we'd have to raise our rates is because they raise their rates or you raise your rates. What are your rates? Oh, you're paying. Oh, you're charging about the same we are, right? Yeah. Well, they charge a little less than us. That's okay too. A little less, a little good, right? Get out and vote, man. Get out and vote this year. If you want Trump in office, for the love of God, show up and vote. If you don't, you better damn well show up and vote. I don't know what else to say. I mean, geez. There's so much crap, you know, in the politics today. I mean, I sat there and I got a note. I go around with, you know, freaking notebooks and shit all the time, and I write stuff down. I write down ideas down. I write concept down, because otherwise, well, you know, I'll probably forget I thought about it. And there's so much bullshit. You know, we do a bunch of videos on a bunch of stupid bullshit. You know, just ain't gonna do it right now. You know, as it is, I'm not really keen on doing a whole shitload of videos today anyway. I might do some more tomorrow afternoon. Maybe not. Probably not. All I know is, my friends and fellow Americans, this is America is the greatest country in the world. Is it as great as it could be? Fuck no. Is it as great as it should be? Double fuck no. Is it a hot mess? That's America, and it always has been. Yeah. The question now is America for the people, by the people, or